All right, as KwaZulu-Natal really is still reeling from the crisis, mop-up operations continue in that particular province. And of course, this follows the deadly floods that have left a trail of destruction. And you saw there in breaking news at this hour, the death toll has risen to 448 people who have since died as a result of these floods. And of course, behind me, as you can see, the relief efforts continue, to really in order to ease somewhat of the burden that is now borne by these individuals who have found themselves without shelter, without food, without clothes, without even some of their documents. You see the infrastructure damage, and this is an area of KwaDukuza, of course, and this falls under the Ilembe district municipality. Areas like this are still without water. You can see the rescue efforts continue as even some of those who have been deployed, the SANDF, of course, is part of them as they try to rescue those who are still unaccounted for. Remember, of course, as we speak right now, the floods have claimed 30 lives in the area of eThekwini, and this is the second hardest hit area after eThekwini. There's been infrastructure damage. It's been huge. Various NGOs have descended on this area to try and assist, and there's been also, of course, a lot of work that is being done to try and really find those that have been unaccounted for. You can see it's quite a really strenuous operation for rescue teams. They find one, they have to quickly go back in order to try and make sure that they bring as many people back as possible. You even heard here on SABC News earlier on as the Premier was talking about how they need to make sure that they find all these people that are unaccounted for to give the family some kind of closure. So this is what is happening in various parts of the province as they try to ensure that these particular community members are really having this closure that they so deserve. And now let's move on, of course, to another, part of the damage that we saw in this particular province. This is a Brentonwood High School in Durban. These pupils are trying to assist in order to make sure that they go back to school. They then are trying to also assist with the rebuilding of this particular school. It's been hard hit. Over 600 schools so far have been damaged in KwaZulu-Natal. And the department, of course, saying that they're doing all they can in order to ensure that schooling resumes, because learners who are still without, some of them are without their homes, they're sleeping in different shelters. They also then can at least have something to do, which is to go back to school and be able to continue with learning so that the school year is not lost. So this is what has been the picture in various schools across the province as department officials, including the minister, as you saw earlier on there, Basic Education Minister Motshekga, as well as the Education MEC Kwazim Shengu, were in the area assessing the damage. And this school, when we heard from the MEC, is that, and unfortunately right now, it has only been left with all that they have is just some of the building, but they've lost a lot of the material. So they're going to be trying to make sure that by the end of this week, pupils are able to really go back to school. But let's then go, to speak to my colleague Bongani Gema, who has been watching, that briefing with the Premier very closely, as we saw a little earlier on. Bongani, devastating news. The death toll, as expected, has gone up.
Yes, Bongiwe, it's been a very heavy day for me and my colleagues today. As you heard the Premier saying that 5 more bodies were discovered today. We did, Bongiwe, witness one body being discovered in Umzinyatsi. We brought you the visuals of the body being airlifted from the river. What we understand, Bongiwe, is that when that body was found, this was a team being helped by community members there, Umzinyatsi, to find that body. We did, as standing here listening to you, Bongiwe, I did see, I think, 2 separate teams coming back now from their operations, as you had the Premier saying that 6 teams are out, are trying to find the missing people. Now, the Premier did not today update on the number of the missing persons, because you'll remember the last time the Premier was updating us, he said that 63 people are still missing. He did not give us a new number today, but earlier in the day, we were at Phoenix, which was also very sad for us, where we saw scores, of families waiting outside the mortuary, hoping, Bongiwe, they'll get a chance to go inside and identify their loved ones in the bodies that have been reported, that have been stored at the mortuary. We spoke to one family member who was saying this is their second day now at the mortuary. The first day they went there, it was not their relative. They went back today. They're still hoping that it's her, because ever since she was gone, life for them has never been the same again, Bongiwe.
All right, Bongani, they definitely a heartbreaking situation as you witnessed there earlier on in the day. But thank you so much for that and giving us that update there. That's Bongani Gema, who has been tracking developments for us. Quite a difficult day the team has heard, as has had, in fact, as they saw a body that has just been recovered. So definitely you can imagine that is, the teams are trying to also make sense of the situation. They also have to deal with this. But let's stay with some of the relief efforts, as Francis is about to have a conversation that looks at another aspect of this. Of course, the president announcing some relief efforts.